This year we witnessed our first automobiles in Lambton County. Most roads are just corduroy roads, logs laid side by side and then covered by dirt and stones. Roads that are often impassable for much of the spring and summer months. The bicycle craze that has swept across Canada over the last decade may soon wane. Just a few days ago, there was a letter in the Petrolia Topic by Perry Kent, a local young journalist. Let me read it to you. Is it really that bad? As well as seeing the birth of automated bicycles this year in both Sarnia and Watford, we have seen much outrage building on the part of many of our prominent male citizens about what they call scandalous dress among our young members of the female persuasion. Over the last decade, bicycling has become quite popular, especially among the younger members of our society, not only as a means of transportation and good exercise, and also for social and sporting reasons. We need only look a few miles north to the town of Sarnia to see what impact the bicycling has had. Certainly, two prominent Sarnia bicyclists have brought national, even international interest to our area. Fred Loughead and Angus MacLeod, both members of the Sarnia Bicycling Club, have caused that town to become known as one of the foremost bicycling towns in the Dominion of Canada, and we can boast about what many consider to be the best track in the country. It was back just 7 years ago in 1893 that Angus MacLeod was invited to join the Sarnia Bicycle Club. Within 2 years, the Big Scot, as he had become known, was the half-mile and 1-mile champion. The following year as a professional, he showed his abilities by winning the 1-mile championship of Canada. By 97, he'd discovered his forte, the 5-mile race. At the Canadian Wheelmen's Association annual meet in Chatham that year, he won the 5-mile professional championship race in record-breaking time of 10 minutes, 54 and 2/5 seconds. MacLeod has continued to win the Canadian Championship each year until he retired this year as a champion. We understand now that he has decided to become a sailor. Should we be anticipating some speed records on any ship on which he may choose to sail? Of course, we must mention Fred Loughead, who signed up with the Sarnia Club soon after MacLeod began bicycling for them. It was not long before he began entering vigorous regional meets. Here was a man who was serious about his newfound craft. His vigorous training regimen included cycling up Ferry Dock Hill in Sarnia countless times a day, carrying a full-grown man on his shoulder. As it should, his serious attitude about training brought results. On July 1st, 1895, Loughead, competing at the Canadian Wheelmen's Meet in Waterloo, captured every amateur title in Canada. By the end of the year, he'd won 78 firsts and had placed in every race he entered. 2 years later, he turned pro and started to win against all comers from both the USA and Canada. The highlight of his career was on August 6, 1897, when he won the quarter and 1-mile championship of America and was stamped as the fastest racer on the North American continent. The following year, he retired from the circuit and returned to Sarnia, where he now manages his father's hub and spoke factory. To return to my question at the beginning of this column, is it really so bad? This is what I must ask each one of our readers. The popularity of bicycles during this last decade might just have been the impetus that has brought to bear comments from some of our elderly gentlemen that our young ladies are dressing in a most shocking manner, even appearing in public dressed in their bloomers as their outer clothing. I've made the point to wander about and observe what some people think is scandalous dress. Over the last several days, I've observed great blossoming bloomers and a multitude of bright colors, pantaloons that extend from waist to upper calf. But you can be assured that no more of each of these ladies is able to be seen. It did not concern me, but apparently this sudden change from petticoats and gingham to something resembling man's pants is a good deal more than many older gentlemen can come to accept in public. I witnessed men gathered on the sidewalk, gaping and confiding disbelief at this fashion trend, suited that can only be said to be a necessity, as ladies have become a part of what for them is a new activity, bicycling. Just as the bicycling craze has brought about an improvement in our roads, it has also brought a change in the way our young ladies dress for this activity. We all know the sight of large groups bicycling our streets and parks, and of the clubs that regularly conduct jaunts between Petrolia, Sarnia, and Brigden. Why, it now takes only the purchase of a new bicycle to put you into local town. In another column of this paper, we regularly report that so-and-so had just bought a CCM, or a Columbia, a Monarch, or an Eclipse. Young and old now appear in the streets dressed to bicycle to work, to church, or to picnic in the country. Many of our sons are courting young ladies on a bicycle, so if your daughter wants to be courted, she'd better buy a bicycle. The bicycle craze and the advent of ladies' bloomers being publicly seen have derived in our history at about the same time. And a good thing that is. It allows our ladies to bicycle without concern about clothing being caught in the chain of their mode of transportation. Even though there are many in our town who profess shock at observing this change of dress for ladies, I say hurrah! Let us rejoice in this new fad. Just as Dickens' Ebenezer Scrooge might have said, I say bah and humbug to all those sanctimonious hypocrites and rude and ignorant loafers who have no other interest in life beyond making low remarks about female cyclists and bloomers.